Welcome to this video on simple and compound interest. In this video, we will be solving some basic questions on simple interest. They're really very basic questions. If you are not a beginner, you can straight away go to the sheet and see if you're able to solve those questions. If you're able to solve the questions easily, you can skip the video and straight away go to the questions. But if you're a beginner, then my suggestion is watch the video twice, thrice, and then go to the questions. So the first question, the simple interest on a sum of money lent at X% for 2x years is 5x. What is the sum of money? So don't be afraid of these words like X%, 2x years. Just look at what do they represent. Like X% is the rate. Time is 2%, 2 years, 2x years. So this represents T. And this represents the simple interest. So we know the formula, simple interest is equal to P into T into R upon 100. So what is your principal? We don't know. We don't know the principal, but we know that the simple interest is 5x. We replace P by P only because we don't know the principal. T will be replaced by 2x and R will be replaced by x by 100. So you have this x cancels out, and what do you get? P is equal to, this also cancels out 50 times. So P is equal to 250 divided by x. That is the value of P. Next, a sum of money amounts to 800 after 2 years and 1100 after a period of 7 years. What is the sum? Now remember, in a question, whenever the type of interest is not given, you will assume it to be simple interest, because the sum of money could have been lent out at simple interest or compound interest, both. But since nothing is mentioned in the question, you assume it to be simple interest. Another thing is, what is the meaning of the word amount? Amount is not the same as sum. It is equal to the principal plus interest. So whenever the word amount is used, you should assume that it is principal plus interest. And if you did not know that, please make sure that you make a note of this in your copy. Now, another very important information about simple interest is that simple interest remains the same every year. Simple interest remains the same every year or every period. You can call it as period. So say simple interest in the first period is X. Then the simple interest for the second period also will be X. I am not talking of two periods, but I am talking of only the second period. Simple interest for the third period will also be X, and so on. So for example, a sum of money amounts to 800 rupees after 2 years. So after 2 years, the simple interest collected will be X plus X, that is 2X. And similarly, if you collect simple interest, if you collect the amount after 7 years, then every year X interest is paid, so the total interest will become 7X. So remember, since amount is equal to principal plus interest, amount after 2 years must be principal plus 2 times interest. Why 2 times interest? Because the interest is same for both the years, as I've just showed you here. So you can call it I, you can call it X, you can call it whatever you want to call it. I'm calling it I here for simplicity. Similarly, the amount after 7 years must be principal plus 7 times I, or 7 times interest. So we have two equations. 800 is equal to P plus 2 times I, and 1100 is equal to P plus 7 times I. So you have these two equations. and we are required to calculate the value of sum, or we require the value of principal in this question. So you can just solve this as simultaneous equations or linear equations, subtracting equation 1 from equation 2. So p minus p will give me 0 here. 7i minus 2i will give me 5 times I here, and 1100 minus 800 gives me 300. So on simplifying this further, I'll get the value of interest every year as 60 rupees. Now I can put the value of I in 1. So you have 800 is equal to p plus 2 multiplied by 60. So 800 minus 120, that is rupees 680, which is your answer. Next, the simple interest accrued on a principal in 5 years at 12% per annum is 1536. What amount of simple interest would one get if one invested rupees 2000 more than the previous principal for 2 years at the same rate of interest? Okay. So you have to carefully observe what information is given in the question. In 5 years, the simple interest accrued is 1536. I just now told you that simple interest is the same every year. So in 5 years, the total simple interest calculated or accumulated will become 5 times the interest of 1 year, and that is given to be 1536. So interest of 1 year will be, this cancels out, 5 3s are 15, 5 zeros are 5 7s are, so 307.2 rupees in 1 year. Now if I want to calculate the earlier principal, I'll just put these values. 1536 is equal to p into 5 into 12 by 100. This is 20, 4 3s are, 4 5s are, 3 5s are 15, 3 1s are 3, 3 2s are. So principal is 2560 rupees. This is the original principal. Now what does the question say? The question tells you that if one invested rupees 2000 more than the previous principal, so new principal must be 2560 plus 2000, that is rupees 4560, and you invested for 2 years at the same rate of interest. So the amount will be principal plus the interest for 2 years, which is equal to 4560 plus 4560 into t is 2 into 12 divided by 100. So this is 50 times, this gets cancelled. We get 4560 plus 1094.4, which is equal to 5654.4 rupees, 5654.4. Next question. A man invested a total of 20,000 in 3 different schemes, providing a simple interest of 6%, 8%, and 10% respectively. If the amounts are invested in the ratio of 1:2:2, what is the overall interest earned by the man on the whole amount? Now there are 3 different schemes. So remember, earnings, the total earning must be equal to earning on scheme 1, which I call as E1, plus earning on scheme 2, which I call as E2, plus scheme 3 has 10% interest. So the total earning will be E1 plus E2 plus E3, where E1, E2, E3 are nothing but earnings on the 3 different schemes. ये 3 different schemes के ऊपर जो earning है, उसको अगर हम add करेंगे तो हमें total earning मिलेगी. और ये scheme में हो क्या रहा है? Amounts are invested in simple interest. मतलब बेसिकली अर्निंग वन क्या होगा, पहले अमाउंट का 6% के हिसाब से 2 साल का इंटरेस्ट, करेक्ट? 2 साल का भी नहीं, 1 साल का इंटरेस्ट। इसी तरह से E2 क्या होगा, दूसरे अमाउंट पे जो 20,000 का दूसरा पार्ट है उस पे 8% का 1 ईयर का इंटरेस्ट। सो लेट अस कैलकुलेट दीज इंटरेस्ट फर्स्ट, बट बिफोर द इंटरेस्ट वी नीड टू नो कि हमारे प्रिंसिपल्स क्या होंगे तीनों स्कीम्स में। स्कीम 1 का जो प्रिंसिपल होगा दैट विल बी 1/5 मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 20,000 विच इज 4,000 रुपीज। ये 1/5 क्यों किया, क्योंकि रेशियो इज 1:2:2, सो 1 पार्ट्स आउट ऑफ 5 पार्ट्स, इसीलिए 1:5 किया। दूसरा जो प्रिंसिपल होगा 2/5 इंटू 20,000, मतलब 8,000 रुपीज। और तीसरा पार्ट जो होगा दैट इज 2/5 इंटू 20,000, दैट इज अनदर 8,000 रुपी। सो स्कीम 1 में 4,000 रुपीज इन्वेस्टेड है, स्कीम 2 में 8,000 रुपीज इन्वेस्टेड है, स्कीम 3 में भी 8,000 रुपीज ही इन्वेस्टेड है। और इसके अर्निंग्स क्या है, सिंपल इंटरेस्ट ऑन दिस एट 6% पर आना। स्कीम 2 का अर्निंग क्या है, सिंपल इंटरेस्ट ऑन 8,000 रुपीज एट 8% पर आना। और स्कीम 3 का अर्निंग क्या है, 8,000 रुपीज पे सिंपल इंटरेस्ट एट 10% पर आना। तो हम कैलकुलेट करते हैं, टोटल अर्निंग इज इक्वल टू simple interest on 4,000 rupees, P into T is 1 into 6/100. Earning 2 is simple interest on 8,000 rupees for 1 year. So 8,000 into 1 into rate of interest is 8. And earning 3 is simple interest for 1 year at 10% per annum. And what does this amount to? 240 plus 640 plus 800, which is 1440, 1640 and 1680 rupees. So remember, whenever a man invests in different income schemes, his total income, logically speaking, his total income should be the sum of incomes of the individual streams. मतलब अगर एक आदमी, एक व्यक्ति की 3-4 अलग अलग इन्वेस्टमेंट्स में पैसे लगाता है तो उसका जो टोटल इनकम होगा वो हर स्कीम का इनकम का टोटल होगा। स्कीम 1 का इस केस में जैसे 3 स्कीम्स हैं तो आपकी टोटल इनकम कितनी हुई यहाँ पे इस क्वेश्चन में, स्कीम 1 की इनकम प्लस स्कीम 2 की इनकम प्लस स्कीम 3 की इनकम। So with this we come to an end of the second session of simple and compound interest. Thank you.